The 7th of May 2024. There are all kinds of rumours and things going around that the Commissioner of the Garda Síochána, at the direction of the Irish Government and the Minister for Justice Helen McEntee, have told Gardaí to get tougher with protesters, which they describe as right-wing. I'd like now to set out the law clearly to you so you can understand the law and so that the Gardaí themselves can ask for the law of their officers. It's well known that a lot of chief superintendents, inspectors are idiots. Not all of them are idiots, but several idiots have been promoted to superintendent. So I can't generalise. I ask the public to respect the ordinary guard. They're great people. There was one time down in Mayo, there was a few people holed up, got into trouble in a cave down on out on the islands of Mayo, and one particular guard who was in the SOBAQUA or underwater unit was at home watching the telly on I think it was a Sunday night, whatever night it was, and he got the call, and within an hour and a half he was down saving the people from that. Most guards, Dublin or everywhere else, if your child was drowning in the Liffey, would go in and try and pull out the child and risk their lives. Gardaí have been killed by the IRA. Garda Michael Clerkin up in Monaghan, Garda Gary Sheehan, Private Patrick Kelly, and I call the IRA not so much for what happened, that's in the past. What I really go after them for is that this is in vain, that they told us at the graveside of their so-called former comrades and IRA people who got, I say that in the broad sense, who got killed in action and all that, they told us that Chucky our law, our day would come. Now we realise that the whole killing was caused of a fault in the thinking of Sinn Féin and the IRA, which is not to free Ireland and give us the kind of Ireland we have craved and our ancestors have craved, but to have the present mad Castro, socialist, mass migration, multiculturalism Ireland. And that means that everything was wasted, all in vain. Every single one of them that died in those campaigns died in vain. I knew some of them. Jim Lina was a bio in Monaghan, he was ahead of the crowd up there. Even the IRA was afraid of him. He was shot dead in Loughgall. I don't actually think he'd agree with this. Seamus McIlwain was from Knockacullion in North Monaghan, and he was killed over at Rosslea, and I knew him, I had met him a few times, and he was a good working lad, a good Irish working type of lad. And he said one day, he says, I'll put the British out of the north if I have to kill every one of them myself with my own bare hands. And there is no way he would ever endorse the treachery of the Sinn Féin party. And that's what we have to think about. Very few people call them out like that, but I do it. And I remember the Omagh bomb. They'll probably try and blow me up too. I don't give two damns what anyone does. This is the truth, and the truth always outs. So we're now going to look at the law and what the law of Ireland is and the sources of Irish law. And I shall be relying on this book here by Principle of Irish Law by Brian Doolan, and I'll be giving you a good update on the law in Ireland so that those who are protesters will be the right side of the law. There'll be those who may do something else and that's to be condemned, but this law is wrong. And what do you call your man in America? Oh yeah, Thomas Jefferson, the great patriot and president, he said that if the law is wrong, you should disobey it. So I mean, to what extent do you obey law that you so much disagree with? It's the job of the government to have the law and their decision making in line with the public that they represent, and they have found a way to get elected totally in contravention of the public wishes. Now, it must be said, I hit on Sinn Féin there, enough said about them. I don't think they're capable of being fixed. Yeah, Peadar Tóibín's into party, he was Sinn Féin. Maybe he's that kind of reform Sinn Féin. And why aren't a lot of the Sinn Féin TDs going over to him? Why are they sticking with Mary Lou? I mean, if you think of it, Mary Lou was down in the north wearing a hijab, and I was out, a woman's cover up. I was out in Oman, and they could still hang a woman for coming out in a pair of jeans and a top. In Tehran and in Iran, it's the same. And she celebrates this. I don't see having to celebrate any religion that suppresses any section of our community. As a man who has a family of both genders in it, they're all the best. So that's enough said about that. Now, so this is book that's used by judges, and in the recent ruling on the nuisance for wind farms, I have no doubt the judge that ruled on that and gave a very good ruling, fair play, where's due, and found in favour of the people suffering, used this. I could see some of the language in her judgment written by this. I wonder who was Brian Doolan. I must just have a look. Well, it says here, Dr. Brian Doolan is a barrister and senior lecturer in legal studies in the business faculty at the Dublin Institute of Technology. It's published by Gill and Macmillan. This is the 6th edition. Now, if you went into, you're choosing a solicitor for a different case, you're choosing lawyers, and you went into one fella and he had lovely clean books. Oh, they were gleaming, not a mark. Oh, he's tidy, oh, he's great. Or you went into a lad with this inside his book and a couple of old pieces of insulation tape stuck here. Look at this, to mark off the different things. And another tab here, right? Which would you choose? Would you choose the one with the clean books or the ones with the dirty books? Well, I think dirt is not to be celebrated, but I think the fellow that was reading through it and putting the little tabs in it must know something. He might know a bit of it here in the head. The fellow with the clean ones might know nothing. Now, I'm on 6 minutes. I want to just finish now. And I didn't really intend to launch a tirade against Sinn Féin, but I'm so upset at this party, that all these deaths have happened and all the suffering, and that all we get out of it is tents, migrant tents in Dublin, economic migrants that have no connection with this country. And that during Sinn Féin's term in opposition, Asi Bibi, a Catholic lady who was sentenced to death for several years in Pakistan, was refused entry into my country. And I'm sore about it. I make no apologies for being sore about it. You can see it in my attitude. I'm sore about it. And they didn't help her, and neither did any of the other parties. So folks, we leave that now, and we're going to come back now with no political overtones at all to tell you what the law is. There's talk that the commissioner and that has telling the guards to get tough on these, and you need to know what your law is. I want to finish too. Gemma Doherty was prosecuted for violent disorder at Kilmechanic Bridge. She refused to speak to me. She has never spoken to me. I went up to her meeting in Ashbourne. I was amazed. She wouldn't let anyone speak to her, and 4 other people there who wanted to speak to her wouldn't talk to her. So I don't know where she's at. I want Gemma Doherty. You make a video about me, quick, because you're not where it's at. There's something wrong with you. I had legal points she could have made in that case. It was never really put in the paper. We don't know was she convicted or what happened. It seems to be a big secret about what happened in that case. So that's me, straight up as usual, 8 minutes. Now we're coming back to the law and get it started. And you'll just see the law on each one. Goodbye.